North Dakota Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp. Senator Heitkamp, good morning.
Good morning.
So this deal, this was all came with the moderates, essentially, from the Democrats and the Republicans coming together to do this deal. What's interesting to me is that it seems as if the moderates never have a role until the last minute. How do you change that mindset? Do you think you have more credibility now when there's not a crisis to be averted?
Well, we're still in this game. I mean, we have a very short period of time to come up with a budget deal. We have destroyed Americans' confidence in not only our economy, but in this institution. And I think the 14 of us are absolutely committed to continuing the discussions, absolutely committed to doing what we can to make sure we do not get here again. $24 billion wasted. $160 million a day this shutdown costs the taxpayers, and we don't know yet what the fallout's going to be on interest rates, costing American middle class millions and billions of dollars. It's shameful, and I don't think that we can once again step back and say, look, let's put the adults in the room right now. Let's make sure that we're doing what we need to do to make sure that we do not get here again.
We always hear that these personal relationships matter, and it is usually in a crisis moment that you see some new bonds that are developed. Can this be a cohesive group, or is this group only going to come together if Patty Murray and Paul Ryan fail?
Well, I think that this group is an opportunity to have the continuing discussions about what those decisions are. And I don't think, honestly, the Budget Committee is going to go to conference. Hallelujah. The great irony of this is that the same people who took us to this brink actually prevented this conference months ago. And so I think we're all going to have to stay very engaged in looking at what those discussions are and not doing this last minute back and forth again. That we have to do it to secure the confidence of the economy.
Is there a way that we change the way this budget conference works? The biggest skepticism right now with a lot of the public, and particularly sort of new media, is the lack of transparency when these deals get cut. I mean, just look at the grief, for instance, the right is giving Mitch McConnell on this one little provision that was put in there. Should the Ryan and Murray conference be televised? Should it be so that we're all seeing everything out in the open, every deal, or would that make things worse?
Well, when we did the Budget Committee, you remember there were television cameras in there watching every movement that the back and forth between the Republicans and the Democrats. And so,
was that good or bad?
I think it's good. Actually, I come from a culture of transparency. I was a huge advocate of the open records law in my state of North Dakota because I believe that the only way you reestablish confidence is you tell people what you're doing and you don't spring them on it at the last minute. And so I'm sure there's other people who say you can never negotiate a deal like this in the open, but I'm saying it's not like there's mystery to this. We've been here before. There's been all kinds of discussions about what those options are. Why not have a transparent discussion about what people believe about those options? Let people make choices. It might help pave the way.
Right. But these big deals usually die because there's one provision that maybe a progressive group doesn't like and basically makes it if you support this, you're going to get primary type of thing. And on the right, we know that exists, particularly on the tax issue. So why shouldn't I be skeptical that anything's going to happen because there's going to be political pressures on entitlements on the left and political pressures on taxes on the right? What
I say to my colleagues is, why do you want to be here? If you're just here to hold a place and keep a job, then what value does that have? What job satisfaction do you have? I came here to work on deficit and debt reduction. I'm convinced a 1% increase in the interest rate on our debt costs us $110 billion a year, over $1 trillion over 10 years. It's not sustainable. And so we need to deal with this problem. I think that what you saw in this group of 14 are people who say, our job's not nearly as important as the people. Let's make the tough choices. Let's move this forward. Let's give the predictability in this economy that the American people deserve.
Well, the good news is it's a low bar. None of us expect you guys to get any of this deal happen. So who knows? Maybe that's good news, right?
I'm going to take it as a personal challenge to change your mind, Chuck.
There you go. All right, Heidi Heitkamp, Democrat from North Dakota. Thanks for coming on this morning.